Hey, this is Notser, and I want to get to the premium German battleships that I didn't get to before the game. This is the Tier 3, Königsberg. It's painted white. It has a green and yellow crest on the front. Probably wouldn't go in combat with that, but it's a Tier 3. What can you expect? It has the weird secondaries facing the rear, but that's not why you're here. You're here for the Tier 7 premium German battleship, Scharnhorst. She's painted white, gray, and black, and it looks like she has a lightning at the front, which I kind of like. I think that looks cool. She also has a blue crest, which you wouldn't have in combat, but it looks good. And looks are all that matter, right? We will check these beauties out when wargaming allow me to, but let's get into the full game. We are in the Tier 5 German cruiser Königsberg. She has 9 150mm guns, 12 torpedoes, 22 AA defense rating, a surface detect of 12 kilometers, top speed 32.5 knots, total health 24,300. For my modules, reduce crit chance on main armament, improved aiming accuracy, reduce the chance of flood and fire. For my commander, situation awareness, expert marksman, and superintendent. We're on the map New Dawn, and I don't believe I've done this particular ship. The back two guns can rotate freely, and there's not a lot of cruisers that actually got this little buff. Most of the changes were applied to destroyers, I believe, and Japanese destroyers at that. But let's face it, the Japanese destroyers do not benefit as much as a cruiser does when you buff their guns. It's just not as important. But playing this particular ship with the changes is a real joy because you can be really agile, and it's really hard, at least for enemy destroyers, to get a good angle on you to send their torpedoes because you are so neutral and still able to engage with all 3 of your gun turrets. It's very unique, and I would love to have an entire cruiser line dedicated to this unique trait. Now, I am scouted, of course. Situation awareness has gone off. We see smoke in the horizon. What is out there? Probably a destroyer, and there's also an enemy St. Louis, the Tank Master, 696969. Holy crap, that's an awesome name, man. You are the first person who's ever thought of that name. Anyway, we're going to try and engage him with AP initially. The German cruisers do prefer AP, but their HE is not half bad anymore, especially against those pesky enemy destroyers. Now, I am still detected, so the Nicholas is fully aware of what I am doing. He is probably going to set up a torpedo attack, but I get the first strike. And we do 3K, give or take. And he's pretty thin, but it's not too thin. We're still leading him as he's moving towards us to get within his torpedo range. Now, he is very neutral now, but I still have pretty good aim. And someone commented, what is that effect? I'm pressing C. It's changing, and we get the kill. I'm pressing C. Whenever you're in binocular view, you can focus your position over one of your gun turrets. So it makes it easier to shoot behind an island, or maybe engage a very, very neutral target that's thin as a blade. That's the 2 reasons I would say you could possibly change your viewport like that. Another enemy Nicholas, and I checked at this time to see, is he teamed up with him? No, he's not. He's just trying to kill me. He should have just cut his losses and said, you know what? Maybe it's a bad idea to go after an enemy cruiser like this in the open. But he comes after me, so I'm not going to ruin the moment. I want to take him out. He's changing left, changing right, port, starboard. I am not having any trouble at all, and I'm trying to keep my distance. The weakness of the early tier US destroyers is their torpedo range. They have to be very close. They do have torpedoes on both sides, but if you keep your distance and aim true, you should be able to take them out. In fact, I think this is the kill shot for the enemy Nicholas. It is. Now, I ran into the border because I was trying to maintain my distance. I'm going to get away from it. And in the first engagement, it happened so fast, right? I mean, we've already killed 2 enemy destroyers, and it was pretty simple. I used my hydro to confirm where the torpedoes might head because the enemy Nicholas, the first one we killed, was pretty close. And it's always better to be safe then sorry. It is also nice that the Germans get a little bit extra range on their Hydro, so it should be their default loadout for all the cruisers for the Germans. Now, some of you might argue, why did you use it in such an obvious situation? Well, I take a lot of torpedo hits when a person is dead, because they feel like it's the last-ditch effort. Let's just get him out and see what happens. It's pretty normal. I do it too. It's probably some sort of psychological expectation that, I'm going to get him either way. He's just not going to expect this. When in fact, it's probably the most obvious play. So, using Hydro for an obvious play in order to maintain safety and focus, I think you can't trade it out for anything. It really is the perfect situation to use Hydro whenever you fully expect a torpedo. There's not a lot of situations when you get to use your Hydro. So when there is an obvious protective use of it, I'm not going to ignore that. Now, there are a couple friendly destroyers that are also pushing this flank, and they're giving me scouting information for the Wyoming and the Texas. So I'm going to try and set up just at the edge of this island. If I tried to fire over this larger part, I'm not going to be able to engage. You can see the little mountain icon, but as soon as we get to the shorter part of the island, I can freely fire. And I decide, let's stop right here, maintain complete secrecy, I'm not detected right now, and fire HE, looking for a fire and also a little bit extra HE damage on the superstructure. And we're doing okay. AP is a better ammo for the Germans, but, oh, that's nice. It's really hard to get good AP damage with the target showing their bow or their stern. It's just not as straightforward as you would wish. And the HE's doing pretty good. Now, are we going to get the kill shot? He's going to fire on us. Oh, angle, angle, angle. Friendly lights the target up. I think he used his damage control, and we finish him off with our next salvo. And my German commander's happy. I'm happy too. 3 kills in 7 minutes. And they were pretty straightforward. We didn't take a lot of damage. We covered our butts, basically. And you can do it too. Now this enemy Texas, he's staying back. He's showing a broadside, and he's firing at me one at a time. So every time he fires, I try to go as neutral as possible. And normally, this would really hurt. The turrets would start to traverse. You really want to try and maintain good angling, but because of the way the Königsberg works, it is very painless to do this little bounce back and forth. And finally, set him on fire. Whoa! He hit his big. That was a big shot. And it wasn't much, right? Just the tip. Yeah, just the tip. My friendlies get torpedoes on the target. He's still on fire. He's probably floating out. And oh, we got lucky. We got lucky there. We should have died. We took it right on the side. Probably overpinned and did no damage or nearly no. I switched to AP. He's showing a broadside. AP is superior in a broadside. And friendlies are continuing to fire. We bounce, unfortunately. AP is not superior when you miss your shots. Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right. And he's in reverse. 2 fires. The friendly destroyers are just picking on him now, and deservedly so. He would love to kill my friendly destroyers. And who's going to get the kill? It's probably the fire. He got 3 fires, by the way, at the end. And the game ends pretty quick. That's part of the reason why I shared the premium battleships at the beginning, because it would have been a very short game. We did get first blood, 3 kills, 5 fires, 53,000 points of damage, 1,261 base XP, and most of the damage was HE, which is interesting, but it was enemy destroyers, which makes sense, and angled battleships. I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.